Hello and welcome. You're watching VoiceWhat presents Self-Reliant India Brands and Leaders in association with Republic TV. My name is Nayan, and through this show we come across resilient Indian brands that are paving way into making India a self-reliant nation. In our episode today, we will be taking the story of Shyam Steel that is based out of Kolkata and was established in the year 1953. Mr. Gourav Beriwal started Shyam Steel as a small factory in Howrah. In hindsight, he was exemplifying Atmanirbhar Bharat way before anyone could imagine it. Even in the early years of independence, he felt that to become self-reliant, India had to have a strong infrastructure with steel backing at its foundation. He envisioned that his steel plant would one day transform into a large steel conglomerate, strengthening the country and reducing imports at the same time. To know more about the journey of Shyam Steel, we have with us Mr. Gourav Beriwal, who is the Vice President Strategy of Shyam Steel. After getting a double degree in Economics and Systems Engineering from the University of Virginia, Gourav did his MBA from the highly prestigious IIM Ahmedabad. He worked as a senior associate consultant at one of the world's leading management consulting firms, Bain & Company. Gourav, you are the Vice President of Strategy for Shyam Steel. My many congratulations and a big welcome to you on the show.
Thank you.
So Gourav, that brings me to my first question to you. Shyam Steel started at a time where there were hardly any steel, that was manufactured in our country. We're talking about the 1950s. So what made the company, foray into these uncharted territories?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Back in 1950s, India was a young nation with a daunting task ahead of it. It had limited resources and it had to create the infrastructure that would lead to its next few decades of growth. But hardly any steel was manufactured in India. So in its developmental journey, it would have to be reliant on imports for the same. Hence, my grandfather, Shri Gourav Beriwal, established Shyam Steel with the vision that the highest quality steel in the world should be manufactured in India itself.
Right.
And that's what led us into this.
Wonderful. In fact, I was just curious, from 1953 till today, what has been the journey of Shyam Steel? If you could just briefly take us through that journey.
Shri Gourav Beriwal and his younger brother, Shri Shyam Sundar Beriwal, started and led the company from inception to where it is today, with a single-minded focus on quality. They always said that chase quality and not profits. Profits are a consequence of quality and not the other way around. And, with that vision in mind, we were one of the first private players in India to set up an integrated steel plant that allowed us to supply steel to mega projects in India. But our vision was to bring this high-quality steel to every home builder in India as well.
Right.
At that point in time, most people bought steel as a commodity without paying the due significance to the quality of the TMT bars that they were purchasing.
Okay.
And hence we wanted to create the awareness in the market that, like every product in your home, be it your table, your chair, your paint, your tiles, they can be replaced later if, you're not happy with the product.
Right.
But your cement, your steel, once you lock in those products, they can never be replaced. So it's critical for you to choose the right products right at the start of your construction.
It is also the foundation, right?
It is the foundation of what you're building. It's the core of your structure. And that's why we wanted to create that awareness in every retailer, in every customer, on the importance of picking the right steel. And today, our products are available pan-India through our network of thousands of dealers.
Right.
Today, Shyam Steel is a 5,000 people family, and we have diversified into many other sectors as well, such as infrastructure, food processing, power transmission, IT services, etc.
Right. In fact, he spoke about, Shyam Steel being a part of these mega projects. How did this transition, also come about? It's one of the select few companies in the entire country that is a part of these mega projects. Tell us more about that.
So in these projects, you are able to supply not on the basis of price but on quality. There are very stringent quality parameters that are required for you to be able to supply to mega projects in India. To be able to supply the right quality, we had, as I mentioned earlier, put a huge amount of emphasis on getting the right quality from the day one. We created an integrated steel plant which gave us the control over the entire manufacturing process, right from the ore to the finished product in our factory itself. So we could ensure that every step along the way was done with the right parameters. We invested heavily on total quality management systems, automation, getting all of our labs accredited by NABL, and so on and so forth. And then the result speaks for itself. Major projects such as the Hyderabad or Bangalore airport, the Panipat elevated expressway, major power plants, bridges, dams, you name it. We supply to most major projects in India. People like BHEL, Railways, DRDO, and the leading EPC players in India, they're all our customers.
Great. In fact, I was just curious, you spoke about your TMT bars. So how are they different from the ones that, probably the competitors are selling in the market?
Typically, everyone has only focused on the strength of their materials. If you look at the communications of most brands in the market, they will talk about how strong their TMT is. But strength and flexibility are inversely proportional. As you increase strength, flexibility decreases and vice versa.
Okay.
And our research has shown that it's the flexibility of your TMT bars that actually make your homes weatherproof against natural disasters such as earthquakes. You see, during an earthquake, the TMT bars need to have a little bit of flexibility so that they can withstand the flexural and tensile forces that are acting on the structure in all different directions.
Correct.
And the TMT bar at the end of the day also has to withstand the load. So it's about having the right balance of strength and flexibility, which we have crafted in every TMT bar that we make.
So Gourav, typically, when you look at a brand like a TMT Steel, you do not expect, celebrities like Virat and Anushka advertise for a brand that's typically TMT and steel. Why don't you take me through this rationale?
The USP of our product is that it has the right balance between strength and flexibility. But we didn't want to communicate this in a very technical way.
Right.
Most people have a very intuitive understanding for this. And that's why we wanted to communicate that in a relationship, for it to last long, you need to have that balance between strength and flexibility. Very similarly, even in your homes, the TMT needs to have this right balance for your home to last forever. And that's what we're trying to show through our communications.
So apart from TMT bars, what are the other products that the company offers?
Shyam Steel has a wide variety of products to cater to a variety of home builders' needs. Apart from TMT bars, we also offer composite bricks, a range of structural steel which is used for fabrication of gates and grills. We also have a range of waterproofing solutions called StirtFlex. Apart from these, we have a lot of other products such as wires, nails, stirrups, etc.
I just wanted to ask, how come this transition from steel to chemicals?
We realized that in 80 to 90% of homes, people experience the problem of damp within 1.5 years of construction.
Okay.
The big problem there was that most people did not realize that waterproofing needed to be done at the time of construction itself. There was very little awareness and education on what are the right solutions to use on which parts of your home and so on. So with the objective of creating the right awareness and simplifying the process and helping people get the right waterproofing done right at the get-go, we launched this range of waterproofing solutions called StirtFlex.
Okay, that's like you really diversified into a bunch of things. All right, that brings us to the end of this segment. We will be right back with more questions for Mr. Gourav Beriwal. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching VoiceWhat presents Self-Reliant India, Brands and Leaders in association with Republic TV News Channel. My name is Nayan, and in this show, we bring about stories to you that are paving way into making India a self-reliant supernation. I'm in conversation with Mr. Gourav Beriwal, who is the Vice President Strategy of Shyam Steel. Gaurav, while we were in the middle of the pandemic, a lot of businesses got affected and disrupted. What were the initiatives that Shyam Steel, undertake that kind of, lend a helping hand in mitigating this crisis?
So during the beginning phases of the pandemic, where there was a lot of uncertainty, we took the major decision of closing all our plants. In our sector, we were allowed to keep our plants open, but to ensure that everybody is safe and until we have some understanding of what we are dealing with, we wanted to not expose anybody to any kind of risk. So everything was closed for a couple of months. As and when we got more information and we understood how to start coming back into work safely and slowly, we started opening our offices up. In the second wave, when the situation was a little bit more dire, one of the biggest problems people were facing was getting the right medical advice in a timely fashion. This was a big problem in urban areas, but an especially big problem in rural areas. So we instituted a team of doctors who are available 24/7 for free consultation with anyone associated with Shyam Steel. And this included specialists such as pediatricians as well. Anyone associated with us could call them at any point of time to get any sort of medical advice that they needed. This pandemic was not just difficult for us for our physical health, but also our mental well-being took a little bit of a beating. And to keep people motivated and going on, we launched a platform called Flexi Strong Talks. The idea there was to provide people with inspiration and motivation to weather the challenges of our times, and also give people very simple and tactical advice or guidance on what everyone can do in their day-to-day lives that can enrich their lives.
Wonderful.
So we had two kinds of speakers coming on board. First were people who had faced monumental odds in their lives. For example, Major Deep Sengar, who had been paralyzed in the line of duty and how he recovered. He talked about his journey of recovery to then again getting crippled in the line of duty, and then again today being not just alive and fit but healthy and running around. Right. So lots of inspirational people, everyday heroes came to our platform and talked about their journeys, their struggles, how they dealt with things like cancer, disability, and so on and so forth. The idea there was simple. Regardless of the challenge you're facing, there are people who've chased monumental odds and come up fine against it. But inspiration in itself is incomplete, because inspiration is just a catalyst to action. With that, you need to give some tactical guidance as well on what to do to improve your lives. The second set of experts that we had on our show were experts from a variety of fields such as nutrition, financial wellness, relationship coaches, and so on, who told us the daily pitfalls, the daily small habits that a lot of us have that can be very easily rectified, or small improvements that we can make every day that go very, very long way in improving the quality of life that we lead. This is a talk show that is free for anyone to, register and interact with. And, once the show is done, all of the video is uploaded on our YouTube channel and anyone can view all of the content.
It sounds very exciting. You actually made the pandemic a lot more joyful, it seems.
Apart from these, we took a lot of other initiatives such as the Family Fun Fest. When at the height of the pandemic, it felt like the world was on fire. We wanted to let everyone know that we are in this together. So we organized a series of fun events where we all connected through Zoom for little competitions on, let's say, singing or dancing or art or whatever else it was that week, with the idea of just simply spending some time together, letting everyone know that we are here for each other. During the pandemic, a lot of people had also lost their livelihoods.
True.
So we distributed a lot of e-rickshaws in a lot of states to help people get back on their feet again.
That's wonderful.
Apart from this, we had organized a vaccination drive in our office very early on, as soon as the vaccines were available. And at that point of time, as a matter of fact, Bengal was under a lockdown. So we had to ensure that everyone could safely travel, safely be administered the vaccine without a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And there are a whole host of smaller measures that we had taken to ensure that everyone is safe throughout these 2 years, from letting people come in and go with more flexibility in their timings to arranging their transportation, arranging meals in office, and so on and so forth.
So Gaurav, while you were speaking, I just thought that there was a lot of sensitivity, regarding your environment, and it requires a certain sense of leadership to be able to, execute the kind of initiatives that you took on that, during those 2 years. There has to be a certain success mantra, or let me say like a core value that goes behind such actions. I'd like to know some of those from you.
We don't really have a success mantra, as it were, but there are a few things that we always try to do. First and foremost is to ensure that we deliver the highest quality product regardless of what we're providing.
Right.
Second is to create a brand that people can trust. If Shyam Steel is recommending something for you, you can be assured that they are doing what is best for you. Third is to take care of their most important assets, the employees, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who create the firm, who create the value, and who deliver whatever we can deliver to a customer. And lastly, our fundamental belief is that a business exists to serve the community. Now, one way to do that is to provide great quality products and services.
Right.
But there are always opportunities to do a lot more, to get more directly involved in whatever spheres and take up initiatives that create betterment of the society.
Right.
And that's been a part of our core principle from day one.
That's amazing. In fact, you were speaking about delivering. What do you think in the next 10 years or a few years, let's just say, as a vision of Shyam Steel's are you envisioning at this moment?
So my grandfather and his younger brother started the company. My father and his brothers led the company forward, and now my generation has joined the business, and we hope to take it from strength to strength. We're looking to enter a lot more segments, such as waterproofing solutions, and a lot more industries as well. And in our core as well, we are bringing in a lot of expansion to the tune of thousands of crores, both through greenfield and brownfield expansions.
So Gaurav, during our conversation, you spoke about, giving back to the society like as a real non-negotiable. Why don't you tell us more about that in detail?
Shyam Steel is very active in a variety of fields such as healthcare, education, environment, etc.
Right.
So for example, the Shyam Steel Foundation provides support and opportunities to all sections of the society, including differently abled, orphans, veterans, etc. We run a lot of mobile healthcare units in various villages in eastern India, where we provide both consultation and medicines for free. We have set up and are running a few charitable schools where we provide free tuition and books. We are very active in the field of healthcare, especially women's health, through mass distribution of sanitary napkins, educational workshops, etc. We were heavily involved in the Durgapur Asansol Green Revolution. Anytime there's a major natural disaster or any relief work needed in eastern India, for example, when Amphan had hit or Yas had hit India, or even during the pandemic, we set up relief stalls. We try to provide food and any material that we can. So, for example, during the pandemic, we had distributed a lot of oxygen concentrators.
Oh, wow.
And, the objective is to put a smile on people's faces. So, we try to create, happiness drives around festival times such as, Durga Pujas or Christmas or Eid and so on. Every smile counts, and that's the objective.
And I think you've been doing a phenomenal job. Not just you, I think the whole idea of inclusivity seems to be like the very core foundation for Shyam Steel.
Thank you.
So Gaurav, that was definitely very insightful, the journey of 70 years, starting in 1950 to now that we see the transition, the growth. It's been absolutely astounding, and speaking with you has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you many, many congratulations for all the endeavors that you choose to take up in the future.
Thanks.
Speaking of endeavors, let's hear it from the people themselves who have benefited from the company's CSR activities.
Parunah Ramakrishna Vivekananda Ashram, situated in the remote village of Parunah. So there were no scopes to build the school building. So with the help of those kind-hearted people, with the Shyam Steel, it has been possible to erect the building. And the students are benefited to read, to study, to prepare their everything. Now, 183 students are there in primary section. The students are very happy because happiness life is a pundra. They smile and they are playing, they are doing so many things easily in the happiness life program.
मेरा नाम औरब मुखर्जी है। मैं कलकत्ता पुलिस में काम करता हूँ और इसके बाद मैं पुरुलिया डिस्ट्रिक्ट में मेरा गांव के पास एक तो स्कूल खोला है सबर जाति के लिए। ये स्कूल मेरा छोटा सा था। ये श्याम स्टील जो मेरे को हेल्प किया, ये बढ़िया हेल्प है मेरे लिए। पहले तो रहने के लिए थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था, लेकिन अभी रहने के लिए प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अभी मेरा स्कूल में 126 लड़का लड़की है। मैं चाहता हूँ कि मेरे साथ ऐसा ही श्याम स्टील खड़ा रहे।
It's always very heartwarming to hear stories where companies give back to society. With this, we have come an end to this episode of VoiceWhat presents Self-Reliant India Brands and Leaders. We'll see you soon next time.